Coming in hot, 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 Lisa shares her financial tips and strategies to build wealth, have fun with finances, and be debt-free without having a restrictive budget. From bankrupt to millionaire, Lisa knows what it's like to feel as if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Her unconventional money multiplier system is the very wealth protocol that enabled her to retire 2.5 years early, pay down $100,000 of debt in 6 months, and move to her dream home at the beach. Hey, 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 welcome back to this episode of I Date Money. I'm your host, Lisa Drennon, and today we have another beautiful guest with a beautiful voice and a beautiful mission. I just absolutely love what Alison Davis is doing as a singer with magnetic stage presence. People often assume Alison is a very confident person, but the truth is she has been learning how to confidently show up off stage in her personal life and her business relationships and as a leader. Being a performer and a people pleaser means being able to take on personas and keep her audiences happy, but it made her question what her true voice was. Alison learned that healing powers of the voice and sound, and in her own explorations of these two things, she has discovered valuable tools for her clients and tools to feel confident to show up in the world as yourself. Thank you so much, Alison. I love what you're doing and how you're using your voice, and just not, when we think of the voice, we think of automatically singing, but you're incorporating this singing along with the thoughts to create this confidence, this happiness, this joy from within. So that's just so amazing. How did you get started in all of this?
Hello, thank you for having me. I love the name of your show. How did I get started? Well, actually, it came from, you mentioned two things there, the singing, but where it started was the healing power of sound vibrations that you can do from your voice. And so in a way, I discovered this from straining my voice as a singer, using steam to support my voice. And then when I'm in the steam room making sound tones and realizing I can give myself massages with the healing vibrations, working with the energy of water. If you've ever seen a glass of water by a speaker, because it even started earlier than that, when I was going to drum and bass nightclubs and putting my back on the speaker and going, oh, this is giving me a massage. So when I was in the steam rooms, I would use sound tones like basically, mostly R's, to give myself an internal massage and just use my thoughts to direct the sound into the water in every cell to give it vibrational, because massages are literally vibrations, aren't they? Like undulations. And so it was originally, I was passionate to try and get people to use this amazing healing tool that is the voice. So that was the first. Then the next one was letting go of looking around, noticing how many people are holding in their sounds and how much, if you make a sigh of relief, it comes with the sound of a sigh and stretching. And then all these things that we withhold, all these sounds we withhold, like groans and grunts and crying out loud. And then that led to me noticing about people not speaking how they really feel. It makes me quite emotional, and that helped me to look. So that when I was passionate about helping people to understand this tool, and then I got some coaching, which was amazing, and they took me to a pain point, and that was the story of when I was getting a record deal. I had a record deal, a solo deal with my song Dreams Come True, and it was back a long time ago, and they got me to make a pop video, and I was so excited, and I just had a baby and I had big boobs, which is also super exciting, because I got to wear a corset like I will never again wear. And then when the day came to film and they said to me, I started to sing the song, and it's a passionate song. You Can Make Your Dreams Come True was my message with all my heart back in my 20s. Then they said, instead of singing it with passion for the video, I had to sing it really you're miming for pop videos. I had to be all kind of ethereal and light, and I didn't stand up for myself. And so not standing up for myself amongst people that are professional and male in my industry, people who know more than me, when I tuned into that pain point, when I look back at that and just realized how, even when I speak it now, I can feel the pain in my chest. I can feel the tears behind my eyes of just not being able to, here's my passion. And some people just take my passion and kill it. And I didn't have the guts and the confidence to speak it out. So when I've been with all these different people talking about the healing power of the voice and realize how many people do not dare to speak their heart. It's fueled this incredible passion to coach and work with different people to help them feel the confidence to share of themselves.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful how that interweaves with the relationship with money, because so many people don't speak up when it comes to their finances. We're raised to be like, hush, hush, oh, don't talk about money, don't say your voice, or, like we're always told no, or, I don't have enough, or there isn't enough, with this scarcity mindset going on. So going back to when Alison was a little girl, little Alison, what's your earliest memory when you first met money?
Oh, my earliest memory, I don't know. I'm not the very best at remembering my childhood, but the first thing that came into your head when you said going back to your childhood, the words "in the red." I didn't know what that meant when I was young, but I know what it means now. In fact, I don't even know if it exists anymore, but in the olden days, you'd get a paper bill.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't pay it in time, you'd get a later bill that was written in red. And so I remember hearing those words "in the red" quite a lot. So
Yeah.
that's one of them. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the earliest.
And yeah, and as soon as you say that, I remember that too, because my mom used to say, "Oh no, we're in the red," and I'd be like, "Why? Like, what happened?" And she says, "Well, do you know what it means?" I'm like, "It doesn't sound good. It means you're in trouble." I think of red and I think of trouble, like it's alarming, like stop. It's a stop sign, red.
Yeah,
And
or red light spells danger.
exactly. And when I was I was a treasurer for three different not-for-profits. And like, one of the accounts that I was managing they were in the red. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And well, we weren't paying attention. Well, what are you doing with the money? Why aren't you depositing into the account? And, there's like all these flags go off, and like, you have to look for, okay, you're not the best person to manage this, account. So I was a financial controller for Girl Scouts for my division back home. And I had 54 accounts, which meant two leaders for each account. And yeah, some of the ladies were just, they wanted to be a leader, but they didn't want to deal with the financial part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that some women would have issues around that. I was listening. Oh, it was your show. I was listening to your show, and somebody was talking about their dad being the person who was in charge of money. But I know that some women are in charge of housekeeping, which can involve money sometimes, traditionally. But yeah, I think women have even more about money shame than others.
Yeah.
You
And,
say that to be true in your experience? I mean,
oh,
I'm just
definitely. I have not found a woman that is 100% confident in their money. I mean, even me as a wealth activator, there's certain parts of my relationship with money where I'm like, okay, is this really going to do it? Like, are we going to really get to this next level? And when we stop and think about it, I mean, I've made some choices in the past. I went bankrupt at 22. And then, with $32,000 worth of debt. And then I was like, I'll never be, in debt again. And 20 years later, I racked up $100,000 worth of debt. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And I knew it had nothing I knew how to do finances. It wasn't a numbers problem. It was actually, I was soothing my own pain inside, my own hurt, my own squashing my voice. I like to say I'm really good at hiding from my feelings. And instead of processing my thoughts and listening to my body and those emotions, I would just go swipe. Someone tells me no, I want to go shop. What
right.
can
Yeah, my
I?
daughter
So,
uses retail therapy.
yeah, and it wasn't even retail therapy. I really don't like going retail shopping, but I love investing in educational programs. I love, helping others and getting things like, I went on trips. I invested in a lot of education. I bought cars. I remodeled my home. I, upgraded like, appliances and things like that. And it was just the thing. I'm still, there's so many layers. So many women believe that once you have a relationship with money, once you start using your voice to express, like, dear money, I love you, but we need to sit down and talk because
Mm,
you're not around as much as I want you around. And, you seem to come and go when you want. So let's fix this, right? And when
yeah.
we have this concept of this relationship and we are able to express our thoughts in a way that helps us multiply money and be a really good steward, that's when we can find our true voice, right?
I love the sound of that. I love the sound of it so much. I yeah, I have a love. I'm a polyamorous person, but that includes the walnut tree out there. I love water. Water's my friend. I have like big 5 liter bottles everywhere, and I love my house. And I believe everything has energy. So I have a lot of lovers that are non-physical, not even organic, but everything kind of is. And so I'm like, if I'm gonna love my cat, my tree, my house, my water, my teddy bears, then I should love money too. And it just made me realize that. But then freeing your true voice in terms of me, I'm speaking up, but to actually admit that I have this love, I is yeah, it's interesting. So I did some work around it recently where I realized that when you see me with a beautiful house and a beautiful car of my own, anytime you see me and she go, Alison's really wealthy financially, you will know there are so many clients who have freed their voice. So suddenly I used that and I was like, I can release guilt because you look at me, Rich, there are people who are expressing themselves who never did before. And then when I got invited to your show, you inspired a mantra out of me, and I'll sing it, right?
Yeah.
I love money. Money is my friend. We play fun games together, and I don't need to pretend. I'm coming out of the closet confident and free because I love money and money loves me. And that one, and I don't need to pretend, I realized that line is the sort of pain point line in that. It's like there's still something there that says I need to pretend. And it's like a shift, isn't it, to move through the guilt. I bet you've done loads of work around that.
Oh, so much work. And it's a daily practice. It's not a one and done. And a lot of especially women entrepreneurs think, oh, what's the secret? What's the formula? How can I get out of this hot mess that me and money are in? It's daily work. It's going through those layers. And, I love how you use music, that sound. I mean, I got the chills and it was fun. I wanted to get up and dance. So I sat down and danced. But it creates this different vibration, this different sense of that energy that goes through. And it's just like, yeah. And I love how you noted with the pretend, because we're all in some way pretending that it's okay. It's okay. More money's coming. And, I'm going to pick on manifestation because a lot of money coaches will say, oh, just manifest it. Well, we're going to teach you how to manifest money. Well, I hope you're teaching the action steps that go with that, because it's not just about thinking, oh, more money is coming my way. I'm going to open up my mailbox and there's going to be a $5,000 check or whatever, right? But it's the practice of knowing the manifestation, the actions that you're taking behind it, and using your gifts and talents to help multiply and attract and bring forth that money that we all want. But then once you get that money, like, a lot of people can't hold on to the energy of money. As soon as they get money, they're like, okay, let's spend it all away. Let's pay down our debt. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's like, no, stop, enjoy, be in the present moment with this beautiful gift that you have, and realize that, if you're taking all of your money and you're putting it back towards your debt, back into your business, and you're not enjoying it, you're not sharing it, you're not investing it, it's not going to stick around, right? And what's the drive that keeps us from wanting to splurge and enjoy money for ourselves, to bless others, to be able to invest it and multiply it and watch it grow? And that's the work that we need to do every single day when we're thinking about that mindset work and we're thinking about those thoughts. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. I'm ashamed because I made this past mistake with money and I'm not a good steward. I'm not a good saver. You have to take money away from me in order to save it, because I'm no good with saving money.
It's so good that you're saying all this, because one of the things I do with my clients is help them to notice what they're saying, the words that they're using. Because, and you mentioned the word manifestation, and the throat chakra is the chakra of manifestation. So actually what you're saying, all those sentences, they're so important to note and to have some creative control over what comes out of your mouth, because you manifest what you speak. I'm working on that totally. And I hear some of those sentences you say, and I'm like, I know that one. But yeah, daily, that's a lot. That's a commitment. I mean, I love that you said I date money, because relationships are a commitment like that. They're a daily commitment if you're in a relationship, aren't they?
Yeah. Anything you put your heart into, right? I mean, it's a daily practice, just like you sing and you spend all this energy with, vibrations and practicing those sounds. Some of these things people are like, oh, I don't want to spend my time that way. That's great. And I know a lot of creatives don't want to hang out with money and crunch the numbers and do the financials because it's not their zone of genius, right? But when we find something that we truly love, we want to do it. But the daily practice with money, it's really simple. It's just captivating your thoughts, thinking about what you're thinking and realizing like, what's the emotion? Like, where do I feel that in my body? And what's the intensity of that? And then understanding like, do I really believe it? Like, am I really undeserving to receive more money? Am I unworthy to handle, to hang out with money, to multiply money? For me, I find out when I speak things out loud, it's so much quicker to process than it
Yeah,
is if I just have it stuck in my head.
it's so true. And when you speak out loud, you get to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that's a really good thing. And I also do work with water, and water picks up words. As far as studies have gone, that they're becoming more and more established to be true, but water picks up vibrations of and people have photographed water crystals, especially Yasuro Emoto, who did experiments where he photographed water crystals where he put words into them, and the different crystals changed shape depending on the words. So when you actually speak out, there's water in the air, there's water in your body, there might be water in a glass nearby, and that's also picking up the frequencies. And so yeah, I get that, to take a thought and to bring it out into, and I can imagine that could be useful. I know with the work I do, it's useful to hear both the negative and the positive ones, the creative thoughts, the ones that you're going to use to create the world, but also the ones that you may want to uncreate because they're coming out. And then, so do you do recording it? Sometimes you can do a voice recording. That's what happened with one of my other mantras that I did. Somebody gave a masterclass and they were saying, record your limiting beliefs. No, that's it. Write down your limiting beliefs and then record, and then write down how you could transform them, and then record that, you saying that. So when I recorded it, my speaking them, I couldn't resist singing them. And that's partly how the mantra business came about. I was like, I can't just say this, I have to sing it. So then I put music production underneath it and made a mantra, and it was just so fun. And then obviously when you hear music in repeat over and over again, which a mantra is something you repeat over and over again, then it embeds in you. So I really recommend that you take it to the next level also and start singing some of yours.
I don't know if I'll do singing, but I shared pre-interview about how my kids, when I sang when my kids were little, they'd put their hands over their ears, Mommy, stop. And like, if I wanted to be in chorus so bad when I was a kid. And I remember trying out in fourth grade, and I tried so hard. I would stand really tall and try to sing for my, diaphragm and all that. And the teacher would be like, well, you are an alto. So we're going to have to stand you near the boys. I'm like, am I in? Am I in? And I was allowed to sing, but like, I guess it was a bad thing to be an alto as a girl. So I stood next to the boys and, like next to the girls, and I got to sing alto. And then, it didn't really encourage me, but when I moved to a different school, I tried out for another choir. And it was the same type of thing, like, well, you're okay. And you can improve, just stand up taller and sing from your belly, not from your throat, and do all this. And you're an alto, so we're going to put you next to the boys. And maybe they thought that was a bad thing back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I hear stories like yours so often, and it really it makes me feel so sad. And these words, people, one of the things I teach about the voice is I call it spells, bad spells and good spells. You can't sing is a bad spell that's been cast on so many people, and it's not true. And, you're an alto is not as bad as you can't sing, but that these words that people use can be so painful, and they can bury inside of you and just like be a bad spell that is cast upon you that will take some time to shift. I'm sure I could get something sounding beautiful out of you. I mean, sometimes with people it's a bit more work than others, but it just takes love and training and attention. You're speaking about using words. You make a podcast. You're in the business of sound, and I'm sure that we could get you sounding like beautiful. And I had a woman come, and she won a prize from one of my like 3-day workshops, and she always said, I can't sing, and she'd say things like, oh, you better hold your ears before I start, or she just put herself down a lot. And I managed to get her into my studio singing. We did it with karaoke and recorded her, and I proved to her, and she now can never ever say it again. She has living proof that she can sing.
I love that. Yeah. I've done some karaoke gigs too, but yeah, not my favorite. Not the spotlight that I want to be in. Well, we'll stick to the podcast. But it is a beautiful talent. And I know, I enjoy listening to people sing, hearing different types of, genre, and being able to listen to the musical notes and, not knowing oh, is that a drum? Is that? So my ear isn't, specifically picking up on something I can't identify. It's funny because I'm challenged to identify who's your favorite artist? I'm like, not sure. What's your favorite song? I don't know the title. If you play it, I was
also
listening
quite
to,
normal. Yeah.
so as I'm working with my clients with their wealth activation, I create these money operation procedures for them. And every time, a lot of the times when I get on calls with ladies, they're like, "Oh, well, what's your monthly income?" Well, I don't know. My accountant takes care of that. And every time I hear that, it reminds me of the song by Joel Walsh. I have an accountant that pays for it all. That line in that song. What's the name of the song? I have to
I
Google.
don't know, but Google's good at that, isn't it? Google's amazing for that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm menopausing at the moment, and so I lose names of songs quite often. And I'm singing. I do for my bread and butter work. I'm still singing a lot of gigs, and sometimes I'm like, what is that song? And sometimes I just ask my audience, what is that song? And then sometimes we come up with it together. Or if I have one line, I can Google and try and remember what the title is. And sometimes I lose complete lines of songs in my memory, just forgets things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more normal than you think, maybe.
Yeah. So how have you used these gifts and talents to multiply your money?
Oh my, oh my, oh my. I have, well, I've created a 6-month program. And so it was so delicious to the idea of taking on board some people and doing a journey with them, coaching journey, so that they could build confidence in the way that they express themselves. And I particularly work with visionaries and creatives. Visionaries are people who just want to see the world become a better place. And creatives, anybody who has ideas is a creative. And I've got some clients for that 6-month program. Yeah, the marketing became fun because I was so passionate about what I was doing. And so went through that. And I'm only in the second 6-month program now, but got more clients with that, put my prices up. That thing I told you about, realizing that when I'm wealthy, you'll know there are loads of people who have freed their voices, made me feel more confident to put my prices up. And so, yeah, and then marketing becomes super fun. So that's what I've done. So I was a singer, and now I'm a singer and a coach. So that's increasing every 6 months, every year. It's going to probably go to a year program for the next one. So that's been wonderful to have money come in. I've booked a holiday for myself and my children with the profits from this last launch. Yeah. So I feel totally, I see my finances just improving all the time, and like you were talking about buying things that are lovely for yourself. I've included that into my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so amazing.
It
And
is.
the marketing is fun.
Yeah. And it's amazing when you have money coming in working for you and you get to do all these beautiful things. And you don't have to worry about it. Like you get to go on holiday and you don't have to worry about like, if the bills are paid or, if more money is coming in, because you know that it is, because you've taken the action steps to allow that to happen. And, by stepping into your purpose, using your gifts and talents, like you said, it's so easy. I love doing it. It's my passion. And that's what makes more money come your way. And, paying attention to money when it does come your way. So what's your favorite way to manage your money?
Well, I would love to learn about that. I don't think I have management under control yet. I can see that
Okay.
I do. And yeah, so I'll need to learn that. I've been scraping it by for a very long time. So watching the income move above zero, I mean, not the income, the bank balance has been a journey for me. And so yeah, just I'll be needing to do that. But I've been juggling. I call it money juggling. I juggle.
Tell me more about this money juggling. I haven't heard this before.
Well, I have, like, when I put money from my business account into my personal account, the reference is money juggling. On paper, you would not believe that I've managed to do what I've done. And so
Wow.
it's just moving, and it's like reinvesting in my business. Somehow it just works. And so I look forward to being able to manage now that I know that, with the results I'm having with my clients, I will always have more people and
Mhm.
want to do what I do. So I can start to see a trajectory of that profit, which is more than what I was making from just singing. So yeah, I will need to do it. So I'll need to listen to your podcast and hear about people like you, so I can start working out how to take it to the next level.
Yeah. Having a management system in place and paying attention to the income that's coming in and, allocating it into money buckets is so important. Not only does it give you that visualization of, hey, this is what's going on. So when my clients meet with their money once a week, they go on a date, their money has a name, they sit down with their date and they, have coffee or whatever. And they go over everything, the whole wealth activation roadmap, and they look at it and they celebrate, they give thanks, they do all these things, and it becomes fun. But for the business side of it, it's like, when do you invest? Like, what are your operating expenses? And what are you investing in? What's going out? But having a purpose for every single dollar that comes in, or euro, or whatever your currency is, right? Having these percentages go into these buckets so that they can multiply with a, like a good interest rate, and doing these investments, but cutting yourself a paycheck first, right? So many entrepreneurs do not take a paycheck, or if they do, they feel guilty. It's like, why? You earned this money. You take the cut from the top. So I always recommend drawing a 50% salary from your profits, and then taking care of the rest, and people are like, well, I don't want to take 50%. Well, what would you expect if I hired you? How much would you expect me to pay you for exactly what you're doing? And then they come up with these numbers, and I'm like, okay, so why aren't you paying yourself? Where's
Yeah,
the
I hear that. I
disconnect?
hear that.
And bridging that disconnect is one of the things I do in my program. So it's really fun to see that shift, to see those thoughts, and then like turn it into, like, we do a lot of writing and changing it. And if people don't like to write, like if they're not a journaler, I'm like, get Otter voice recorder, or use your video recorder on your phone and speak it in, because that, when you can process it out loud, that can really benefit you. And I know the power of pen and paper is huge. And I know some people don't like to write, they don't want someone to find it, right? So use the voice recorder. And I love that you have this modality
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, and listening to these words as you're speaking them and hearing them reflected back to yourself. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't catch that I said this, or tonality, right? How we feel and the tone that we have towards money. A lot of entrepreneurs will have multiple income streams coming in, but they might not like this income stream from, this source. Yeah.
Mm.
So they compartmentalize their income. I'm like, no, it's all your income. Just lump it together, celebrate it. So
Sounds so interesting. Now I know why you asked me to come in, because you're already using the power of the voice
yeah.
in ways. That's brilliant. And I wonder how many people you interview in your podcast who end up hiring you, because I'm very interested in what you do. Do you have overseas clients?
I do. I do. Yeah. I'm a global girl.
Global girl, me too.
Global girl.
Yeah.
There is no, like I said, the only thing with money, and when you look at it from a relationship point of view, the currency may be different, but the relationship with money is the same regardless of where you are.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
energy.
I'm in the United States. I can go, to Europe. I can go to, the Caribbean, wherever. And Money and I are still hanging out. We're still partners. And I just have to figure out like the exchange rate, right? And I know like where some type places I go, the American dollar is king, right? Because it's worth more, whatever. But every single value of money, like I found a dime the other day, and to me, a dime means hope. For some reason, when I saw this dime, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna. I always pick it up. I pick up pennies all the time, but this dime was like it gave me hope. And I guess so I have it like as just a reminder of this hope that I'm holding on to, right?
Guess what? I literally walked here I went out with a friend just now, and I walked here and I saw 7 pence on the floor, a five and two ones, and I picked them up. I use it as a symbol, but now you've mentioned it, I'm like, this is such serendipity. It's like, and also 7 is a great number for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm a 7 in numerology. So that's brilliant that I can't, it's so brilliant that you just told me that when I've just found those pennies on the floor. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and then celebrate that and be thankful for it. And then the other thing is that a lot of people, they exchange their currency for a service or a product. And they're like, oh, well, I've just wasted my money. No, you just invested in yourself. And in exchange, you received something. So you exchanged your dollars, your cash, whatever, for something in return. That is not a waste of money. That is a exchange for services. And back in the day, people used to barter. They didn't have the paper to exchange, so they would barter their services. And
Mm.
when you think about that, like I always tell my clients, just look around. Like you had mentioned, like you'll know I'm wealthy because you're going to see like, the this materialistic things, right? The houses and the fine things. But really, wealth is a state of mind, because when you're feeling wealthy, you look around and you're like, I have all these beautiful things and I get to enjoy all these experiences. And to me, that's true wealth. Money in the hands of good people does fantastic, beautiful things.
You know what's so interesting? On the 7th of the 7th, on the 6th, I had just done a group session with my current run of clients.
Mhm.
And I came away from that feeling so rich. And I was just contemplating, I feel so rich. And then on the 7th of the 7th, I wrote this list. This is the list of things that had happened to me in that week. And I was in a cacao ceremony for when I wrote this. And I just stayed. And apparently the 7th of the 7th is a portal, which I hadn't, well, I kind of knew but forgot, and I didn't know what day it was. But all that day I was just sitting in this wealth that I have. Like I'm still with it. I mean, yesterday and this week my son's birthday, and I had these amazing sessions with my client, amazing times with my family, and like and there's a list of just like so much in my life, so many things that are of a beautiful, like, the way that lives are touched and the feedback I get and the creativity and the fun I have and the family and there's just so many. My beautiful house at the moment smells of jasmine, because these jasmine flowers are just there's just so many beautiful things in my life. Like I am I nearly said filthy rich, but that's not such a good word unless you like rolling around in mud, and then it's okay. But I am so rich in experience. Like I often feel like I could die tomorrow, because I have done so many amazing things and achieved so much, and it's delicious, and there's so much delight and joy. So whatever my bank balance, there's still a limit. There's still a balance that needs to happen there with the finances to represent how rich my life is. But I know I'm rich, and I'm quite into the law of attraction, and focusing on your wealth brings more wealth. And so I'm not surprised to see more deliciousness come into my life, because
Yeah.
wow.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
So you've talked a little bit about your program. We know what you do. What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you?
The best way is to go to my website, alisondavid.com. That's ALISONDAVID. And while the doors are not open to my program, my latest and most exciting project is to help people create their mantras. And you heard one of mine just now. And I have many, I make many, and I help clients make some. And it comes from their pain. So we sit with you and we talk through whatever you're struggling with, and then encourage you to find the right words to say them simply, what you would love to hear, what would love to be encouraging for you. And then I can draw out the melody and the rhythm from the person, and they can sing it themselves, and then I record it and
That's
maybe add some
beautiful.
harmonies or put music on top, depending what they want. And that's my most exciting offering at the moment. And it's
I
because
love that.
that's the power of, the power of words, the power of repetition. There's the power of the repetition, how it affects your brain, and how music affects your brain. So very similar to what you do. I could work hand in hand with you, with all your clients who've got these words that they're recording, to make mantras out of those, and sing them to themselves. And you imagine like singing love songs to money, like singing to your date, singing, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yes, that is beautiful. I love that. That was a great visual. And I have to say, jasmine is one of my favorites. So I have a jasmine oil and I love it. It's my perfume. So I love that you have fresh flowers. I'm going to have to go look and see if I can get fresh jasmine flowers in Florida. I have not seen them, but I'm
Oh,
sure
right.
there must be somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so. With this lot, that they're just falling, is this jasmine snow like all over my floor, all over the patio, and you can just put them in the cup, the flowers themselves, and add hot water and just drink it, and it's lovely. Don't need the.
Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Alison. Before we part, what are some words of wisdom you can share with our audience?
Sing your love song to money. Let's do that. Let's sing a love song. Let's be with what feels uncomfortable and find words to harmonize. Use your words to soothe you. Use your words, be kind, use kind words. And if you can sing them, doesn't matter if anyone ever hears you. Music is a super powerful tool, and your voice is a tool. So use it, use words, and find nice things to sing to yourself and soothe yourself with your sound.
I love that. Thank you so
Mm.
much. It was a pleasure having you here. For you ladies and some guys that are listening to the show, please check the show notes, get in touch with Alison, especially if you want to find your voice, if you want to confidently sing any mantra, especially towards money, right? We're always thinking about improving that relationship with money. And be sure to give the show some love, give us a 5-star rating and a review, and share it with all of your friends who need to hear this or any of the other episodes. And remember, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's what you do with it. And hey, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to rate the show, give us some love. We would love your review. And remember, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's what you do with it. And some words of advice: pay yourself first. Are you ready to partner with money? Go check out the money dating game at idatemoney.com and choose your partner. We hope you always get the date you want.